news.
We all got ourselves a package in the mail from Retroid, and I guess all I can say is it took enough time. I ordered this thing at the end of July, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and it finally came now, the middle of September, but whatever, it showed up eventually, I guess. I got, obviously we're talking about the Retroid Pocket. Doesn't say on the side. The Retroid Pocket 2S transparent green. I got the 4GB model that comes with 128 gigs on board. You know, a lot of people say it's a $99 handheld, except I feel like everyone has gotten the 4GB model, which bumps you up to about $120. You got to pay for shipping, so it's budget. It's very budget, but it's not as budget as you might think. But we're getting way ahead of ourselves. Haven't even opened the box yet. So Retroid always has very pretty boxes. Wait a minute. Didn't cut myself yet. So we open it up, and it's held in with magnets. How do they work? Oh, the Retroid Pocket 2S. Beautiful. Oh, and it also a little instruction card. Not a manual, a card. That's neat. Got our screen protector on there. I'll fiddle with that later. Our beautiful green. You can see through the bag. And a USB-C cord. Is that it? That's all we got? Yes. I ordered the Batman Returns nipple case, which I think is an extra $15 if you order it now. Oh, that's not bad. I don't know what that flap is for. Does that protect the screen? Ooh, beautiful. Yeah, that protects the screen. Huh. That's pretty slick. You got room in there for like an SD card? Will that fit? No? Yeah, I mean that. No, and nothing's gonna fit in there besides the actual handheld. Which I mean that's fine. I always like to have an SD card or a thing of headphones in there. Maybe we can tuck something in behind there, but that's still gonna be a tight fit. Pretty cool case. It smells like shoes, new shoes, not old shoes. That would be weird. So right out of the box, we have our RP2S, and it's beautiful. And now I got a couple comparisons here. My first comparison is going to be with, and this is the reason I bought it, the transparent green N64 steady. And you can see it's a completely different color, which is not the worst thing in the world, but kind of a bummer. I would have liked it to be the actual, transparent green N64 color. It would have been neat if the sticks had been this gray color, but can't win them all. Then as another comparison, we have the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus. I bought this myself. I bought this myself. This wasn't a sponsored video or anything like that. I bought this myself. This was my first big boy retro handheld. I had the V90 Snap. I had the Pocket. Wait a minute. I had the Pocket Go S30. And between this and the V90, I could play all the way up to PlayStation, some PlayStation. And I joined Retro Handhelds, actually, and I said, I like this Game of the Month thing, but I'm having a hard time playing some of these PlayStation games. But I got the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus. It was my first big boy handheld, and boy, did I love it. What else can we compare it to? 353M. And the screen itself is very similar. This is a larger body. It has these triggers. Ooh, those are actually pretty nice. This is probably the most comparable in size. And the screen's about the same, but this has a bigger lip on the bottom, bigger speakers, and a more powerful processor. This has the T610, which on paper is weaker than a T618, but a lot of people have been saying just actual gameplay, it's about the same. Now before I get the SD card in and power on, oh, and by the way, Retroid doesn't ship with SD cards. You got to provide your own. But what's neat is maybe you have a Retroid 2 Plus, and you got a nice high quality Samsung card in there, and you haven't really played that in a year. Just swap it in. Plenty of extra room. 128 on this one on board, plus whatever SD card you want. You can put your PlayStation 2 and your GameCube games on there, the ones that will run okay, which we'll find out. And then, pretty much your entire PlayStation, PSP, whatever. Whatever library you're interested in, cram it on the SD card and call it a day. Initial impressions, these triggers are smooth. Now, you see that? I can see inside the shell. And I can only imagine, unless you're putting it in your Val Kilmer case all the time, you're going to get dust inside the case, which wouldn't be a real big deal if you didn't have a transparent case. I wonder if there's going to be crud I can see floating around. Wah, wah, wah. Someone feed me dust. And the D-pad on here, it's a lot smaller. than the one on the RP2 Plus, which I actually thought this was really nice D-pad. These buttons were sliders, well, a slider and a switch stick that didn't click. But this one has 2 Hall sticks on the bottom, a D-pad on the top. This is the same D-pad looks like out of the RP3 Plus. It's good D-pad. It's just not as big as the one they used to use. You have your regular face buttons. They're kind of clicky. Well, maybe they need to be broken in. They're fairly clicky. On the old one, got your home button, got your back button, you got your, I don't know what this button does down here. You have your plus and minus, volume on top, power on top, USB-C on top, HDMI out. So some people, they're always like, oh, I need HDMI out on these things. And if you do, this one has it. Stop and a play button. I guess that's start and select. Nothing on the sides. And a headphone jack on the bottom, along with your TF card. Kind of hard to get in there. And I don't think you'd want to be opening this up over and over again, because it feels like that little string it's attached with is going to give way. We're not going to open that too much if we can get away with it. So let's power her on, and we're going to see what she does. Is it going to have a... Yep. Oh, that's not as annoying as the other ones. Retroid was good for like a super loud splash screen to start up your system. Let me connect to the internet real quick. Okay, we're on the internet. I'm going to enable Google Play services. So we're going to install stuff. Let that go. And we're back. This is the RP2S launcher. We're going to select that one. It has kind of a switch set up. You'll see. Ooh, start button. I really needed to press it down. I don't know if I like that. So here's what we got. And obviously nothing's going on because there's nothing there. But you can add apps. And you can use this as your, say, your Android front end part. So you're going to be using this mainly for emulation, but say you want to have certain apps. I want to have my Google Play Store. I want to have PPSSP. I want to have, I don't know, FM radio. But you can also go to the bottom here to emulation. And then when you go through systems, you can add your systems. And the order you add them in here is the order they're going to be displayed. So you might want to take a little bit of time to think about how you want to do this. And you go in your Game Boy Advance and you say, my ROMs are located. And, oh, wait a minute. I got to put my SD card in. Zoo, you goof. Now, since this is from my earlier Retroid Pocket 2, I should be able to click this, and it's going to know, yes, yes, those are my ROMs are. Scan. Unable to detect some ROMs. And what it's doing is actually hashing them, which means it's getting a unique ID based on the ROM, the fingerprint of the ROM, and it's using that to find the box art. It's not using, the name. Maybe you maybe you backed up some ROMs and you decided to name them with cool Hackzor stuff in it, or add your name to the end of them in parentheses. Now, some of these things, it'll say, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what Hackzor speak means, but this, it just kind of hashes it and it says, hey, based on the actual attributes of the file you have in here, I have determined this is Advance Wars 2. I will put my picture on there for you. So we're going to skip ahead, and I'm going to add all these systems, and we'll get back later and do some gameplay. We are just about finished adding games. You can see that it pulls we're doing one live. It pulls the box art for you. One of the good things about this front end is you don't have to I'm going to let it scrape for 4 hours. You can put all your stuff, hash it. That'll take a minute sometimes. But once everything's hashed, it pulls them ad hoc, as you're going. Let's get Game Boy Advance. Try this. Uh-oh. I didn't enter my cores yet, but the good thing is I can just go auto. Yeah. Yes, I will allow this. Yes. Gonna let RetroArch go to town. All right, let's configure RetroArch first before we do Game Boy Advance. This shows 2 things. 1, I'm dumb and I forgot I had to set everything up. But 2, this isn't plug and play. I think maybe we've gotten used to plug and play. You got to kind of fiddle fart around with RetroArch. So I'm going to get that all set up off camera, make sure my cores all match, and then maybe we'll play a little bit. When I first got the RP2 Plus, I felt spoiled because it had Android and I didn't have to plug it into my computer to get ROMs on there. I could just go in Chrome and, do it straight away. Now, almost 2 years later, the limitations are starting to become apparent. It just in the sense, like, there's nothing to stop you. But it's not user-friendly for a new person because Retroid has gone out of their way to not set things up for you. Like, it comes with a folder for ROMs, and when you go to add that folder, you have this default SD card directory, which lets you know where to put it. But like for BIOSes, there's a folder in that same directory And Retroid doesn't know to look there, so you have to tell Retroid, hey, here's where my BIOSes are. And it's all just, first time things, nothing too insurmountable, nothing insurmountable at all, but it's just kind of like, I've gotten used to this being more of a seamless process, right? Whatever. It's not like Amberneck or a Power Katie that comes out of the box and all you gotta do is throw ROMs on there and call it a day. Get some Fire Emblem going. Now these speakers are right in front, which isn't the best thing in the world because when you're really playing, you kind of cover it with the fatty part of your thumb, but they are really good speakers. The sound quality is elite. It's really good sound. It's full, it's not tinny, and it comes through very nicely. However, you can muffle it just by putting your hands over it. My name is Zoo. Now this screen is bright and beautiful, and at 3.5 inches you're going to get a little bezeling on your Game Boy Advance games, but it's not too bad. It's nothing stretched or weirded out too much, and since it's so powerful you can add shaders. I like to go to, where are you, Handheld, and I like to do just dot. Get him. This is a very nice screen for Game Boy Advance and is more than capable of playing Game Boy Advance, but obviously we knew that coming in. So let's... Oh, Lynn, you want to be okay? Oh, dang! You got him. Whoa. How do I get that? Oh, well. Game Boy Color plays fine, obviously. Regular Game Boy is going to be fine, too. Whoa! Watch out! That guy's strapped. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. Dead then. Womp, womp, womp. Wow. Robocop's never been much of a hopper, but he's some sort of copper. Ha 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 ha. Ah! And it's going to look great on here because it has a... Whoa, what is this game? It has a 4:3 aspect ratio, and the screen is ideally suited for that crap. I got, what is that, a snake? A bird? Pfft, thought I could jump over that bench, I guess not. NES plays great. Sega Genesis and your Super Nintendo stuff is going to be great. Here's where you can really go to town with these shaders. Oh, I like CRT, and I like this one. This Geom. Holy crap. The game is hard. Almost died on the very first level. Give it time. There it is. Wait, I can die from jumping wrong? You okay? Well, can't leave any witnesses. Sorry, Dad. Tink, tink, tink. I'm gonna go kill some guards. Link seems an unlikely hero. He's savagely murdering these people.
What is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets.
Oh, crap. Whoa, he's gonna turn into a dang werewolf. Look at this photograph. Oh, never mind. Can I have some of Nickelback? Alright, well, PlayStation's great. The aspect ratio helps. And I can play it at 2x, 3x on some games. Maybe more. You don't need to go past 3x, honestly. I mean, the screen can't support it. Whee! Oh, Glombox. Whatever the heck your name is. Dreamcast is going to run fine on here. It comes with Redream. You have these... analog triggers that'll actually do pretty well with Dreamcast games. You shouldn't have any issues with Dreamcast. Yeah, Dreamcast is actually pretty good for this. The aspect ratio, again, it favors these 4:3 games. Speaking of 4:3 games, let's step it up just another notch and let's try some N64. Oh, hey, Peach, what you doing? Just relax and chat a little bit. What could possibly go wrong? Dang it. It's always something with this lady. How the heck did he pull that off? No one noticed he just was under the freaking castle? I got killed in the tutorial. What's wrong? Wedge? Wedge, my dude, are you okay? Well, N64 should play great on here. Your PPSSPP works fine on here. You can probably run at 2x resolution, maybe 3x resolution, depending on the game. Oh! Snuck up and killed me from behind. It's a jerk move, dude. On my way ahead. Too many Bloody Marys at brunch. Whee! Alright, let's get to the stuff you all been waiting for. Let's start with some, well, heck, let's start with 3DS first. So as you can see, the screen is not suited for this at all. At all. Some of these demanding games aren't going to run real great. But maybe some JRPGs will be okay? I would not buy this to play 3DS games, I guess is what I'm saying. Unless you're into some slower paced visual novels or JRPGs or something, then maybe. Maybe. You might be able to tweak this to get a little bit better performance out of it, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's not going to be a real good 3DS machine. And to give you an example of a game that, might run better, we have Fire Emblem Awakening. It'll always stutter a little bit. It has to, pre-cache the shaders and the textures and everything. But after a couple rounds, it's always better. Ugh. Chunky. Oh crap, I one-shotted him. I wanted to show off the gameplay. I didn't want to kill him in one turn. Dang it. If you want 3DS emulation, and you want it on one of these sub $200 handhelds, get one of the bigger, like the 505 or the RP3 Plus, maybe even the Retroid Flip, and do it sideways. If you really wanted to play a game that only uses one screen, you can go to settings, and you can say, I just want to use the one screen. You can also do a large, which means you got this biggie guy up here and a little guy here, but you can barely even read it at all, so what's the point? Okay, it's a little better. Now we're going to fight someone else and have this guy run over here and stab this dude and see if maybe it looks better for him. See? The more you play, the smoother the graphics get. I wouldn't buy this for 3DS at all. If you have 2 or 3 3DS single screen games you really like and they're kind of slower paced, they might run. I mean, that's it. Don't buy it for 3DS. On the other hand, GameCube, this does ship with the MMJR2, which lets you do sub 1x resolution. So if you have a game that's not quite running at 1x, you can bump it down to 0.9, and your eyes probably won't be able to tell the difference. Look at that. Look how vibrant and colorful it is. Whee! Preparing to scan Mario's crotch. Ding, 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 ding. Oh man, bad guy was in there. Am I gonna pee on your face? Shine, get.
There are gnomes everywhere.
Damn Rom gnome.
That's got one. That was pretty good, Harry.
GameCube is surprisingly good on this. To me, this feels like almost the same as the T618. It's just handling the GameCube pretty good. The only issue I've noticed, it's getting hot right here. You can see through. So these chips here, would you shut up, Harry? These chips here are hot. And the battery, not so much, but here it's hot. Let's see what it says. We're at 72.6 degrees Celsius. That's not ideal. Now, it didn't feel hot at all until I started messing with the high-end stuff. So just keep that in mind. Also, my battery has been stuck at 49 the entire time. I charged it when I went and took a break. So I don't know if the battery's goofed, if it's ever going to go below 49, if I'm never going to know when it's going to die. Maybe if I reset it, it'll be okay. I don't know. I mean, everyone's seen God of War 2 to death. You know that it's going to play it well enough. Let's do something weird. Let's do American Wasteland. So I have this set to -3 across the board. Each of these games will vary a little bit just because, certain games have certain requirements that other ones don't. PS2 on here in my testing so far today, it performs a little bit worse than what you get on the T618, which it's weird that the GameCube is on par. Whee! Broke his head. It's weird that GameCube seems like it's great. It's on par with the T618, but PlayStation 2 just don't want to do it. He's going to freak out. If you're willing to accept a little bit of performance hiccups, you can play some PS2 games on here. I think the issue is that you can't do sub 1x resolution, whereas GameCube runs decently to begin with, and you can kind of tweak it a little bit. PS2, you're kind of stuck. You can mess with the underclock and you can squeeze out a little bit of performance that way, but otherwise you're not doing great. Whee! Oh no. This Tony Hawk game is playable. I'm enjoying myself. Whee! Now this is La Pucelle Tactics. I don't know what that means in French. I'm playing this to illustrate that a lot of your sprite-based 2D and just JRPGs in general will run decently on here. But, frame drop or frame skip you get occasionally, it's not critical when you're doing turn-based stuff. Well, it's not a Retroid video unless you reference an udon shop. Huh? Get it? Here we go. How about that? It's not the most exciting game in the world, but it's 2D, it's relatively low overhead, and it plays great on here. So you gotta pick your poison. Let's try Final Fantasy 12. So Final Fantasy 12 is not running great, but it's running okay, and since it's kind of a slower paced JRPG, you can kind of handle it. I wanted to test out HDMI out, and this is what my monitor looks like. It might have something to do with this weird daisy chain I got going on. Maybe this converter's bad. Everything's just kind of scratchy. It's got streaks in it. See that I got a bad port, I have a bad adapter, or this monitor just doesn't want to play nicely with it. So we're going to try a different monitor. I had success, but it's real finicky. See? Just me moving this to show you. The signal dropped. I feel like I might break it. Like if I push the cord over to the right, it works. It's just wildly inconsistent. So if I tell the game to play itself, everything's great. I can walk away. I'm all the way over here now. But if I start to touch the controller, and nope, that's a bummer. Oh well, maybe yours will work better. Well, friends and neighbors, it's time for... What did we learn? We learned that the Retroid Pocket 2S is a $99, well, actually, it's either $115 or $135 once you factor in the two variants and shipping. But let's just, it's a $100-ish handheld that plays all the way up to GameCube and PlayStation 2. Now, it won't play a ton of PlayStation 2. It plays a surprising amount of GameCube. It has a bunch of different colorways. I obviously got the translucent green, which is pretty slick. I am a little bit upset that it's not exactly the same color as the jungle green N64 controller. But what are you going to do? The ergonomics of it are pretty good. The buttons are great. The D-pad's great. The Hall sticks are great. The triggers are great. There's nothing you can really complain about outside of the start and select button. They're hard to hit for me, which is kind of weird. And these buttons on the bottom, you have your home and your back. But then this button, I couldn't figure out how to map it in some of the games that I would want it for. I wanted to map this button to the fast forward for Aether, but I couldn't figure out how. Maybe I'm just dumb. That's always a possibility. Overall, pretty slick budget handheld. If you already have a T618, I don't think you need it. This is marketed, I think, as a budget entry-level handheld. Some of these other budget handhelds that have come out recently, like the RK 2023 or the PAL Kitty Max Pro Triple Heart, whatever it was called, now those are in trouble because this chipset blows it out of the water. And the only thing those other handhelds might have going for them is bigger screens or wider screens. Speaking of the screen, it's beautiful, it's very vibrant, it's bright, has a headphone jack on the bottom, which I like, and just all sorts of cool stuff. It's a really good entry-level handheld. And if you don't already have a handheld, or you don't have a handheld this powerful, I would say get it. But, this is my we need to talk about Retroid moment. Retroid products in general are usually pretty good quality and pretty good value, except for, maybe the hinge on that flip. But I'm at the point now, I'm never going to buy one brand new again, just because of shipping. Maybe you ordered the DMG model and you got yours right away. That's great. I had to wait almost 2 months to get mine, despite the fact that I ordered it 4 minutes into the pre-sale. You're complaining, you're spoiled, you're whatever. Maybe. I think in the future, I'm just going to wait until the first wave of reviews are over, and I'm going to get it from a drop shipper, or maybe directly from Retroid, but once they actually have stock. And I understand shipping from China can be a difficult process sometimes. But the thing is, a lot of these other companies seem to have figured it out. And Retroid still averages a month or maybe 2 months between money and package at your door. And it's not free shipping either, so there's no excuse where you're not paying for it, so it's going to be slow. It's either $15 or like $30, and they're both slower than what you'd get honestly from Anbernic or Powkitty or AliExpress or heck even Temu. There was a lack of communication. At no point did they say, "Oh hey, by the way, clear green is going to be the last one to ship." If I had known that, I would have got a different color just to get it sooner, to get a review out. It just seems like it's a mess every time. There's always something with the launch of a Retroid product, right? It seems like Retroid needs a month to like actually spool up production before they can ship things out consistently. I don't want to sound like an Anbernic stan, but Anbernic will launch a product with 3 colorways, and you pre-order and you get your $10 off or whatever, and then it shows up in a week, maybe a week and a half. And that's it. You don't have to worry about, well, I ordered the transparent purple. That one's not going to ship for 2 months. They just ship. They have them. You order them, and they ship them. So say what you will about Anbernic or Powkitty, but they have the stock, and they ship the stock. It just seems to me like Retroid, in a couple ways, is still living in that 2020, early 21 kind of mindset. And what I mean by that is, they ship it and there's no ROMs on there. And some people would say, yes, that is a step in the right direction. We don't want to steal intellectual property. But I got news for you. They're also shipping it with emulators to play said intellectual property. So are they really, they really have the high ground? But they ship it and you have to do a lot of configuration yourself, which is fine. But the other companies seem to have gone past that. It's one of these deals where it's like, who cares? What are you complaining about, Sue? I'm complaining because to me, this seems positioned as an entry-level kind of thing, but they don't have the entry-level things in there. In the grand scheme of things, it takes it from an A- to a B+. It's not the end of the world, and you can get around it easily if you want to. It just, I don't know, I feel like Retroid is kind of stuck. Their shipping is like, well, you get it when you get it. The front end it ships with, it blew my mind when I had the RP2+, but it's the same thing almost 2 years later now. When I had my RP2+, I never would have considered putting a front end on it. This, I'm probably just going to put Reset Collection or Daijisho or something. Just because the front end, it didn't innovate. They innovated, they have innovated, they just haven't continued to innovate, which is whatever. That's just a little zoo complaint. Who cares? In the grand scheme of things, this is a relatively cheap handheld with extremely high performance, no glaring issues with quality control. The screen is nice, all the buttons are great. I give it an 8.5 out of 10. I haven't done number ratings in a long time, but it's good. It's really good. Outside of my issues with the business practices, it's dynamite handheld. If you don't already have anything better and you're not dead set against this form factor, I'd say buy it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Don't wake up my Uncle Wheezy. What?